It was 2:47 a.m., the kind of late where the silence in your apartment actually starts ringing in your ears. I was grinding through a freelance project, desperate to hit a morning deadline. My eyes were burning. And then, the screen froze. My router was completely dead. I needed internet. I just needed 10 minutes to upload those final files. I opened my Wi-Fi settings, praying a neighbor had an unsecured network. The list populated, and right at the top, sitting there with full bars and no lock icon, was a network named Tomorrow. I didn't think twice. I clicked connect. There was no password prompt, just a weird, brief flash of static across my screen. And then I was in. I uploaded my files. Job done. We often invite the impossible into our lives through simple convenience. A desperate click at 3 a.m. had tethered me to something that should not exist. Before I shut down, I opened a new tab. My homepage is a local news aggregator. The top headline read in bold red, "Tragic pileup on I-95 southbound leaves commuters stranded." I live right by I-95. I hadn't heard any sirens. Then I checked the timestamp under the author's name. It read tomorrow's date, 8:15 a.m. I muttered something about a time zone error or a pre-published draft. I closed the laptop, crawled into bed, and passed out, completely forgetting the glitch. The next morning, everything changed. I was drinking my coffee, scrolling through Twitter. Trending locally, a massive pileup on I-95 southbound. I turned on the news. The wreckage, the overturned sedan, they were the exact same photos from the article I saw at 3 a.m. The crash occurred at 8:15 a.m., exactly when the timestamp said. The network broadcasts facts from the future with absolute precision, turning anyone who connects into a helpless witness. I tried to convince myself it was a massive coincidence, but that night, I didn't work. I just sat at my desk in the dark, watching the clock tick closer to 3 a.m. At exactly 3 a.m., my home Wi-Fi dropped again. The red light on my router pulsed. I opened my network list. Tomorrow was waiting. Full bars. My hands were trembling as I clicked connect. I opened the local news site. The new headline read, "Devastating fire claims historic downtown bakery." There was the photo, the building engulfed in flames. The timestamp read 11:30 p.m. Tonight. The geography of these events followed a specific pattern. The highway crash was miles outside the city limits, but that bakery was exactly 3 blocks from my apartment. As the diagram shows, the radius of disaster was collapsing inward. The shift from a regional highway to my neighborhood suggested the focus of these events was tightening specifically on my location. Understanding that closing distance forced a terrifying choice. I could sit in my apartment and wait for the circle to close, or intervene to see if the future could be rewritten. I knew the owners of that bakery. Without thinking, I grabbed my coat and my keys. I didn't know what I was going to do, but I couldn't just sit there. I ran down the hall. I had to stop it. I parked across the street at 11:15 p.m. The bakery was dark, closed, peaceful. I sat in my car, waiting. The clock read 11:28. Nothing. 11:29. Still nothing. At 11:30 p.m. on the dot, a spark flashed inside the front window. Then a violent roar. The front glass blew out into the street. The heat hit my car in seconds. It looked exactly like the photo. Standing on that sidewalk, I realized my presence changed nothing. Every detail played out exactly as predicted, regardless of my attempt to stop it. The strange network wasn't providing a warning. It was providing a preview of a reality that could not be avoided. After that, I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. Driven by a toxic addiction, I had to look again. I needed to know what horror was coming next. 3 a.m. The red light. The connection. I opened the browser. But this time, I didn't even have to click on the news site. A pop-up window forced itself directly onto my screen. It was a single image. A real-time photograph taken from the corner of my own ceiling. Looking down at me, right now, sitting at this exact desk. The headline beneath it read, "Local resident found unresponsive in apartment." The timestamp was 3:15 a.m. The ultimate cost of observing the future is that the anomaly eventually observes you back. The radius of danger had finally collapsed to 0. I looked at the clock. It was 3:13 a.m. I have 2 minutes. I need to leave. I need to get out of this room right now. I lunged across the room and grabbed the door handle, but it wouldn't turn. I threw my weight against it. It's locked. From the outside. Across the room, the red light on my router stopped blinking. It turned solid green. The internet was back. And precisely at that moment, the lights in my apartment went out. The only thing left in the pitch black was that solid green light, until a dark, human-shaped silhouette stepped out of the shadows and blocked it. Some doors, once opened by pure curiosity, can never be closed again.